I can break an apple in half with my bare hands.
David's team.
What is your technique?
I take it in the hands.
Yes. Are your hands bare at this point?
Of course they're bare.
Yes.
Friction's very much part of this this equation. You must pull it, I'm going to say east to west. A lot of people think you need to twist. You don't need to twist.
You don't need to twist.
Really?
You just
don't need to
pull apart.
Pull it apart.
How do you get the
Pull the
grip?
apple apart.
Won't your hands just slide away from it? I'd have thought you'd need to twist.
If you twist, you fail. Twisting equals tears.
So you just grip the apple in your hands and then fling them apart, and you have 2 half apples.
No, I rip it apart.
Yeah.
The way you were miming it then, there's like downward pressure from the thumbs, almost as if you're trying to open it like a book.
Yeah.
Is that what it's like? Because I can believe that more than the just grip, bang!
Yes. No, David, that's fair enough. Yes.
It's just sort of, you're almost like, you insert...
Oh, but I so wish it was bang. It's not.
No, you're inserting the thumbs to try and pull it apart that way.
No insertion.
All right.
No,
But
that's
downward
the grip.
pressure.
Downward pressure, and there it is.
So where are the thumbs? Are the thumbs either side of the stalk?
You know where the thumbs are, David.
Where are the thumbs either side of the stalk?
Yes.
No insertion or penetration.
No, absolutely not. No, the thumbs are used for gripping, not for ripping. That's what I was taught. And if you remember that... If you can remember that, you too will be parting apples.
How long have you done this for?
I have done it for a long time. What I used to do to entertain was I used to take hard-boiled eggs, peel them, I can still do it, and I could take the shell off in one. And you actually peel the membrane rather than trying to... Don't be all rough-handed and don't, take your time. Off it comes bang.
And when did you...
That's the correct way to present. With an apple, it's this.
When did you first discover that you could do the apple? How did it come about? How did it come to be?
I can't remember the first time I did it. I can remember the feeling. But I can't remember the first time I did it.
What was the feeling?
The feeling was magnificent.
Right, David, is that the truth?
I don't think so, but it could be. Can we leave it at that?
Yeah, that's fine. OK, on to the next round. No, we can't.
I agree with that. I'd love to see him... I hope it's true, because then they'll make him do it.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see it.
Yeah. If it's not true,
Make
will
him
they
do
make
it
him
anyway.
try?
So what's it going to be?
Oh, I really want it to be true, but it isn't true, I don't think.
You can't pull an apple apart, can you?
You can't just rip it in half. I so want you to be able to.
If you and I can't, sure.
And I can't.
I've never tried.
Have you ever tried?
If I had an apple here, and I could have a few
But I think
goes.
if those two can't do it, David, with the greatest respect, it's highly unlikely you're going to pull it off.
Tremendously, frighteningly strong hands, as I found out to my own cost. So you think it's a lie, then?
I'm afraid I do,
OK,
yeah.
well, I'll go with the giant.
You're going to say it's a lie? All right, you're saying it's a lie. Bob, were you telling the truth or were you telling a lie?
I was telling the truth.
Yes. Well, guess what I've got under the desk? My trusty box of apples. It's a proper apple. Ready,
Yes.
Bob?
It's a big one.
Thank you. Not you, him.
Does your husband play cricket?
I love that sort of thing. Where shall I do it?
I really hope he can't do it. Yeah!
OK, David, you're going to read my card again, mate?
Yes, OK, here we go. When I used to go out drinking, I would often hide a sausage roll in a tree near the pub. so I could have a tasty snack for the walk home.
Lee's team.
Why couldn't the sausage roll come in the pub with you?
If I did that, then the chances are I would have ate it during the night. And the idea is that it was a tasty treat for the walk home.
Oh, so it's to avoid temptation.
Exactly.
Did it start off hot?
No, it was always a cold sausage roll.
OK.
Because they come completely sealed.
It's not a nice one, then, from a freshly baked. It's a horrible one in sealed plastic.
If we spent all the evening in a tree, it's not a nice one, whatever.
That was my point, because I pictured it in a brown paper bag, and I thought, well, the squirrels, the pigeons, the other birds.
The squirrels, the pigeons and the other birds. You
wrong
mean
with
the
that?
squirrels and the pigeons and other birds? It sounds like you think a squirrel is a bird.
No, not at all, not at all. Squirrels, I'm very clear on what squirrels are, I always have been. But I'm saying the squirrels, the pigeons, and then I thought, I'll list some other birds. I thought, no, we haven't got time for that.
It's a shame you didn't feel it, you didn't have time after the squirrels and just ended at that.
It's not just squirrels, is it, Lee?
No,
There
there's
are birds.
other birds as
there
well.
Are other birds.
Was it always the same place?
Yeah, so on the way home, there was a corner with a nice, thick kind of bush on a low wall, and I'd kind of shove it in there.
Did you ever get a situation where you were walking a nice lady home and it was all going very well, and then you got to the bush, reached in for your sausage roll, and that sort of ended that romance?
If that would have ever been the situation, I think I would have let the sausage roll go, mate.
Were you not concerned about insects in a bush at night time?
And not just
Putting your food
insects,
in there?
other birds.
I was, to be honest, which is why I used one of the ones in the pre-sealed plastic.
So, Chris, would you ever, late at night, reach into the bush and find it to be a bit manky?
Oh, keep it light.
No, I mean,
Oh, Lee, no. I'm not having that. These people haven't travelled all this way for you to twist things around. Did you ever reach into the bush and think, oh, this doesn't feel right? Did you ever reach into the bush and think, someone's been here before me?
How far is the walk from the pub to the sausage roll?
Oh, well, the walk home was about 15, 20 minutes.
And where did the sausage roll come in? Halfway?
No, it was about 5 minutes.
5 minutes in or 5 minutes from home?
5 minutes from the pub.
So you could do the 5, but you couldn't do the full 20 without a sausage roll?
5 minutes from home, you could have put a pudding.
Well, the
Just something simple, like a penguin.
Hey, and other birds.
So what are you thinking? Now, Josie, how does this strike you?
I don't know how anybody would leave a bit of food behind. That's the...
Stephen, is this something you would ever consider doing?
I wouldn't do it. And I think if you had a 15-minute walk home, you probably could have gone past a shop.
All right, so what are we thinking, Lee?
Lie.
lie.
It's a lie.
I think it's a lie.
it's a lie.
He's lying.
So, they think it's a lie. Chris, was it a lie or were you actually telling the truth?
It was a lie.
Yes!
Yes, it's a lie. Chris didn't hide a sausage roll in a tree for his walk home. So please welcome this week's special guest, Jonathan. So, Debbie, what is Jonathan to you?
Well, this is Jonathan, and when he was a baby, I used to pull him out of a top hat.
Bob, how do you know Jonathan?
This is my friend Jonathan, and I have brewed 3 award-winning beers with him.
Right. And finally, Lee, what's your relationship with Jonathan?
This is Jonathan. One Sunday, the two of us spent 3 hours trapped in an automatic car wash.
David's team, where will you begin?
Well, Debbie, so you used to pull Jonathan out of a top hat?
Yeah, he
And
was
so, how old was he then?
about 6 months
6
old.
months.
Was he a rabbit at that stage? He's grown up into a lovely bunny.
What a cougar comment that was.
He's going for it, though. Look, he's aflame with desire. Look at him.
He's got the right hairstyle to be pulled out of a top hat.
So, where did this happen?
This was in a summer season
Where?
in Bournemouth.
Debbie, how big was the top hat then?
It was a prop top hat, so it was a bit bigger than a normal one. But, you know, babies aren't very big. He was only about this big.
6 months, not very big.
Yeah.
And so...
And was he the son of someone else in the summer season? Or
No,
was he one of the
was-
Chuckle Brothers' offspring or something?
No, it was a feature in the show, and we had different babies on different nights. You know, they were like in rotation, and they came from an agency.
So, who would bring Jonathan to the theatre?
His mother.
His mother?
Yeah.
And what would happen to him? I mean, I don't want you to give away the magic trick too much, but where was he stowed up to the moment where he's pulled out of the top hat?
I can't tell you because I'm a member of the Magic Circle and I can't give
That
the
is a
secrets
really
away.
handy thing for this game. I like it. Can you come on every week?
Well, don't give anything away, Debbie, but talk us through the trick.
There was a pretend rabbit, and then Paul would lift this big top hat from underneath and tipped it forward. And that's when I would come over as the assistant and take Jonathan out and say, and here's the rabbit's turned into a real live baby.
And the audience
And I'd
went,
be like
boo, we hate babies.
No, they
How long did they have to wait to be revealed?
Not very long. It wasn't a very long trick.
So they were only briefly on stage before the
They were only briefly in
reveal
terrifying darkness alone.
Which they are in a cot when they go to sleep at night.
And indeed in a womb.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the ultimate trick, isn't it?
Now, who would you like to question next?
Yeah. Bob,
remind us what it was that you've said. How do you know Jonathan?
Because I have brewed 3 award-winning beers with Jonathan.
what are the names of your award-winning beers?
The one that's my favourite is called Kiss the Alderman. That's an IPA.
Kiss the Alderman, an IPA, yes.
IPA. Another one was a stout, and it was called Retail Park.
Retail Park.
Yeah. And the other one was a lager, and that was called... Not now, madam. It seems funny now. That's why we used it.
Not now, madam. Lager. Kiss the Alderman. Retail Park.
Can I just say, he's written these down, so I hope you can remember them.
How long did you two work together for?
About 2 years ago, I was in a field, Dion, collecting some mud to go and bury at home in my garden. And along came Jonathan, or J-Keg, as I call him. And he said, I recognise you off the telly, you're that Ray Mears, is what he said. And we got chatting, and he said, do you like beer? I said, I like beer. He said, would you like to brew some beer?
And quick!
I said, yes, I would, rather urgently, actually.
I've run out!
And he's got a brewery, JPEG.
Yeah.
It's a lean-to next to a barn, right next to the field where I was. It's quite big, actually. It might be a lean 3 or a lean 3. So I went in this marvellous little brewery that I'm imagining, and we mashed. Well, part of the process is mashing.
Right.
You put a load of hot water in the cylinder, and you have to stir the malt barley.
Yeah.
And I did that bit of it. And I thought, I adore this. Is there any way that I could see this process through, and we could call this beer Kiss the Alderman?
What is the Alderman?
He's an unelected council official. Say, for example, let's focus in on Bolton.
Yeah.
So if Bolton had a large Chinese community, but there was no representatives, councillors, they would say, would you like to informally nominate one of your Chinese community, and they will become an alderman, and they will sit on the council and be able to represent...
Right. No, that makes sense. So we've definitely covered what happens to the Chinese community in Bolton. However, back to the beer story.
Yeah, so... and that that was because the aldermen. So we brewed 1,000 litres, bottled it, and it was the top beer in the Kent Craft Ale Society.
Can I ask, my husband is a brewer, what hops did you use?
Citrus hops. One of them's called something and the other one likewise is named as well.
I mean, this all checks out.
You know what? The thing that is the hipster brewing beard. If you were to say to me, draw a brewer, that's what I'd draw.
That's what you draw now. It's very interesting, actually.
Now.
Whereas,
Wow, really?
whereas if someone asked you to draw a brewer 30 years ago, you'd draw someone very different, wouldn't you?
I'd draw you.
Now, what about Lee? Lee, remind us of your claim.
This is Jonathan. One Sunday, the two of us got trapped for 3 hours in an automatic car wash.
Where was it? Where was the car wash?
It was just outside the car. Near where I live in southwest London.
Whose car was it? Who's driving?
It was my car.
And was Jonathan in your car with you?
Correct, he was the passenger.
Why? How do you know
Because we can't both drive.
How do you know Jonathan?
I know Jonathan because we're in the same football team.
What is it, a bring your granddad team?
So you were you driving back from football?
Driving to football.
Driving to football.
Washing your car on the way to football. Oh, I'm looking forward to the game, young Jonathan. I really can't wait. But tell you what, let's wash the car first, so that when we arrive, everybody says, oh, Lee's doing well.
You drove into the car wash, and what happened?
So, there was 3 options. It was gold, silver or bronze. And obviously, being from the north of England, I was looking for a lesser metal than all 3. But it stopped at bronze. So I went in and I said, can I have a car wash? And he gave me the token, and I went back out and I
Was it a token? Sometimes it's a code these days.
All right, then, what he said was, the token is where the squirrel likes to hide.
When I say code, I don't mean riddle. I mean a series of numbers that you put into a keypad.
On this occasion, it wasn't.
You put the token in the slot.
Yes.
You advance into the car wash. The weird things start going.
Yeah, so the big brush at the front that goes over your bonnet, that came towards us.
Yeah.
And then the side ones came. It was the side ones that caused the main issue. They got to the door, stopped, and just kept doing that, and we couldn't open the doors. And it did not stop for 3 hours. I know, it sounds unbelievable.
What? Why don't you climb over into the back seat and get out one of the rear doors?
Because it's a 2-door car.
And I'm assuming this happened before the invention of the mobile phone.
No, that was not true. It was during the invention of the mobile phone.
During it?
During the invention. No, in fact, do you know what we did? We were so stuck, didn't know what to do for 3 hours, we decided to invent the mobile phone. No, it was... his phone was in his sports bag in the boot.
Where was your phone?
My phone was with me.
Why didn't you use your phone?
Because the battery had gone.
How did you eventually get out?
I absolutely screamed and screamed, and this stranger passing by saw a big button on the thing that said, emergency stop. So he pressed the button, and it stopped, and when it stopped, it reset itself back to how it should be. We opened the door, and I went in. And he went, you're back again. I said, yes, that's about my car. So what's up? I said, tell you what's up. The doors are phenomenally clean.
All right. We need an answer. So, David's team. Is Jonathan Debbie's magic mate, Bob's brewing buddy, or Lee's car wash companion?
I can't believe Lee's story is the kind of story I would have to invent to tell my husband if I'd been in a car with Jonathan for 3 hours. Jonathan looks like a hipster brewer to me.
What do you think?
I think it's Bob. I think they're mates and they've done some brewing together, yeah.
Yeah, OK,
You think Bob met him in a field while collecting mud He said, come and have a look at my brewery.
Yes, yes.
And we're going to call our beer Kiss My Alderman.
It's not kiss my alderman. It's kiss the alderman.
I'm so sorry. If it's true, I'm sorry.
Rob, you can immediately appreciate why kiss the alderman is much more marketable than kiss my alderman. I certainly call mine the alderman.
But very popular with the Chinese community.
So, David, what are you going to say?
I think my team thinks it's Bob. Yeah, but let's go.
OK, you're going to say Bob. OK. Jonathan, would you please reveal your true identity?
I'm Jonathan, and I brew beer with Bob.
Yes, Jonathan is Bob's brewing buddy. Thank you very much, Jonathan.
This is the emergency kit that I keep in my car at all times.
OK.
Well, not at all times, obviously. It's here. Next.
John, will you take it out of the box and put it on the desk there?
What would have been brilliant then if he'd have took his car out?
Can we investigate it?
Yes,
Do you want to?
Spotty
Yeah. I'd
mud.
quite like to. I'll be very careful with it.
Are you going to bring it back?
Well, yeah.
I'll be careful. There we go. Thank you.
Oh, I've never given another man my box before.
Okay.
I have, it's quite nice.
There's a mug, spotted mug.
Yeah, well spotted.
Yes, here's options, Belgian chocolate.
Bill, sorry, can you be careful with that? That's his mother's ashes.
Chocolatey ashes.
And here a little bottle of
some red wine.
Can I just say this is like the most boring version of the generation game.
Oh, the best ready, steady cook ever.
It's the sort of a post-nuclear deal or no deal.
Right, OK, so take us through why you've got these items.
Well, I'm on the road a lot, and I like food and alcohol. So I make sure I have some in case I have an unexpected overnight stay.
I love how seriously Bill and Frank are studying the product.
This has got a very curious marking on it. It's a circle and a pregnant woman and a line going across it. What's that got to do?
That suggests to me that they don't advise that pregnant women drink.
It's hardly hieroglyphics, Bill, is it?
Tell you what, if I found this in a car, I'd assume it was the flight recorder.
David, time to guess.
I think it's nonsense. So we happy to say it's nonsense?
You're all saying it's a lie?
Yeah.
OK. John, were you telling the truth or were you telling a lie?
It is true.
And I should say, if you're thinking of compiling an emergency car kit of your own, both Would I Lie to You and the BBC would like to point out that other brands are available.
I once had a job where I had to answer the phone and say, "Hello, beef?"
There we are. Lee's team, what do you think?
What was the job?
It was a job, it was an office job where... An
office job?
Yeah, an office job.
Right.
In an office job.
Yeah, I know what an office job is.
Yeah, with a
The
certain
word
type-
office I'm not confused with is the bit about the beef that's getting to it.
It's a government department where we dealt with beef and lamb and suckling cows.
Right. So what was the government department exactly? What were they
It
doing?
was it was an agricultural department of Welsh government.
So they'd ring up and say, "Hello, beef," and the kind of questions they would ask you would be...
They'd say, well, it was all about identifying animals.
Identifying them?
Yeah.
So you go, "Hello, beef," and they go, "I think you're just a man. I'm looking at a big black and white animal. And it's saying move. Can you help me?" It's cow. I'm beef. Goodbye.
No. Well, either that or you might want to put them through the suckler cow. Depends if it was male or female.
What is a suckler cow?
I don't know. I only worked in beef.
Was this in Cardiff or something? Or?
No, it was in West Wales.
Was it in Carmarthen?
Carmarthen.
Kidwelly?
Carmarthen.
Haverfordwest?
Carmarthen.
Carmarthen?
You should work on the trains. The Welsh office is in Cardiff, but the Welsh Office Agriculture Department, WOAD, is in Carmarthen.
So farmers would ring you up and ask you questions about
Farmers
beef?
would ring me up and they'd say, "I've got an animal here, and it needs identification," and we would give them...
What do you mean identification?
We would give them cattle identification documents. It was the CID department, CID,
well, just
cattle
stop
identification.
Stop it. I feel sick with confusion.
It's CID. I worked in CID. It was
you worked in CID?
Cattle
Oh, no, it makes sense. You worked for CID.
There's been a mooder.
CID was cattle identification document, so it's like a cow passport, and they'd ask us questions about
cow passport?
A cow passport. They'd ring up and they'd say, "We've got a new cow in town."
So you'd send out the official documentation.
They would tell me the animal's details, and we would print up a CID, cattle identification document.
Because each one needed this. Everyone had to have this.
Every cow.
Oh, every cow, yes.
So what are you going to say then, Lee? Is he telling the truth?
Well, if you know a lot about cows. A little.
I've rung up departments of DEFRA and said hello, and they've said hello beef.
Yeah.
And the whole WOAD thing, you wouldn't just come up with that.
Unless you were very quick and very clever.
OK, we'll go with true.
You're saying true. Rod, were you telling the truth?
It was... true!
Yes, it's true. Rod did once have a job where he had to ensure every cow had a passport. Oh, it's hard enough getting him into the milking shed, let alone a photo booth.
I once opened my curtains...
I believe you.
I once opened my curtains in what I thought was Manchester, only to see Denmark outside.
David's team.
How did this come about?
Well, me and a friend of mine had been out and had a long lunch in South Manchester,
yes,
which ended up with us waking up in a hotel room, separate beds. And...
Oh, I'm sorry it didn't go better. Thank you. And so how did the day end?
With my friend saying, "Where are we?" And me saying, "I think we're in one of the hotels in Manchester."
Mm-hmm.
I opened the curtains and I saw a ferry going past and the...
How did you know it was Denmark? Did the ship say, "Welcome to Copenhagen"?
Well,
it'd be very confusing if a ship said, "Welcome to Copenhagen," wouldn't it? Because wherever it went... I wouldn't put "welcome to" anywhere on a thing that moved.
We had to ring reception and ask the lady where we were.
So what had happened then?
Well, we slowly pieced together that we'd got slightly inebriated and decided to jump on a flight somewhere. So we rang downstairs and asked them where we were, and they said room 342. To which I said, "No, what part of the world are we in?" And she told us where we were.
That's a hell of an opening question. Hello, reception. Yes, where am I?
We then went down to reception to clarify where we were.
So you ring her up. She says you're in room 342, whatever. And you go, "No, where in the world?" And she says, "Copenhagen." And then you sort of go, "I'm going to need to speak to you about this face to face."
Simon, aren't you from Manchester?
That's why I knew ferries didn't go down Key Street,
But
see?
why would you stay in a hotel in the city you live in?
You're a very innocent man.
Henning, what do you think about this?
Utterly believable.
You seem very willing to accept this sort of hedonistic behaviour, Henning. Have you indulged in this sort of thing yourself?
Yeah, I want. Yeah. I mean...
How do you think he ended up in this country?
Michelle, what about you?
There are parts of it that I believe, because I've been with friends on those benders, but the timeline is just not adding up.
Well, I think your opinion in favour of truth is stronger than your opinion against
I think you're correct.
So I think we'll go with true.
Makes it very easy for you, doesn't it? You've had to do nothing.
Whereas you...
I am holding the whole thing together. OK, they think it's true, Simon. Was it true or was that all a lie?
Well, it was all true.
So please welcome this week's special guest, Jake. So, Oti, what is Jake to you?
This is Jake, and on the German version of Strictly, I knocked his tooth out with a high kick.
So, Oti's damaged dancer. James, how do you know Jake?
This is Jake. When he split up with his girlfriend, everyone blamed me instead of him.
Right, James's breakup buddy. And finally, Lee, what is your relationship with Jake?
This is Jake. I once knocked him into a grave with a frisbee.
So there we have it. Oti's damaged dancer, James's breakup buddy, or Lee's frisbeed friend. David's team, where to begin?
OK, so why were you on German Strictly?
Oh, so I live in Germany, and that's where the UK version found me.
And Jake was your...
He was the celebrity.
What does he do?
He's a weatherman.
He's a weatherman?
Wetterman.
What is he?
Wetterman.
He's a German weatherman.
But he's very talented because he's a weatherman. I mean, this is difficult to do.
Well,
and he can dance. I have a lot of admiration for the weatherman and weatherwomen.
Yeah, but that's all you're doing is showing people to tables. It probably looks really skillful.
How good a dancer was he? Because on Strictly, you often have people that aren't very good.
We made it up to week 9.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, in German, that's 0, so it means week 0.
No.
Nine means
it's close enough, Rob. It's close enough as a joke.
9 does not mean 0.
It means week no, OK?
No,
just let it go.
No, because the joke doesn't work.
Well, I think you'll find that all us lot disagree.
So what happened? You said you hit him?
Yeah, so this was during a live show, right? And the worst part is, that was the end of the number. So you have to go there and stand by the judges.
No, the worst part is he knocked his tooth out. Typical dancer mentality, and the worst thing is we got judged terribly.
But did you get through to the next week?
Yeah, it's Germany. They vote.
Germany have got a terrible history for voting for the wrong person, don't they? Why is that an ooh? Surely you would agree with that. Why is that contentious? Is that a room splitter? Oh, no, we liked Adolf Hitler.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm just contemplating the rise of fascism.
What about James?
James, what's the scenario?
This is Jake, and when he split with his girlfriend, everyone blamed me instead of him.
Why?
Because I had to deliver the news.
What do you mean?
We wrote a letter together. We were like 15, and it was Jake's first girlfriend, and he hadn't got experience of how to break up with people. And to be fair, not even less. And we decided, he's like, I've got to break up with her, and I don't know how to do it.
Why has he got to break up with her?
They weren't really clicking, they didn't have much chemistry.
Right.
Did you write it together?
Yeah, we wrote it together in a field.
Do you remember that letter at all?
It was... I remember it started off with, Dear Yvonne, this is the hardest letter I've ever had to write.
Why were you in a field?
We went for... We liked to go for a lot of walks, me and Jake.
I can see what's happening here. Am I the only one that knows what's happening here?
Why didn't he write it on his own? Why you?
Because I think he was worried he would say the wrong thing, and so we tried to, like...
So he wanted to make sure?
Yeah, it's like, maybe we can work on it together, and we sat down in the field and we wrote this letter.
And can you remember more of the text?
I think I know that it didn't really drop the bombshell until a little bit in, because I remember when I gave it to her, to begin with, she was very excited to receive a letter from Jake.
Oh.
And then she was going through.
Did you stand there while she was reading the letter?
Yeah.
You stood there?
Well, I just stood there. So she was in my form.
Yeah.
So I had to go over to her table and go, oh, this is from Jake. And she was like, oh, Jake's given me a letter. And then all the girls on the table were like, yes!
Why did you give it to in front of other people?
I was 15 years old. You're a grown man.
Did she look at you like, did she blame it on you straight away?
Yeah, as soon as they all got to that bit, they all looked at me and were like, and were really furious with me and really angry.
Right.
Yeah.
I see.
And Jake was, I mean, Jake's a wild boy. They kind of expected it from him.
When you say wild, what exactly do you mean?
He went through a phase when he used to jump in the school long jump pit naked. He played Mr. Hyde in a play and licked a girl's face. I was in a band with him.
Really?
Yeah, he was a keyboard player, but he couldn't play keyboard, so we turned it all the way down. Then we chucked him out the band and he smashed his keyboard up in the woods.
He really is a wild man. All right. Now, what about Lee?
So, Lee, what's this grave frisbee
Just remind us, Lee.
This is Jake, and I once knocked him into a grave with a frisbee.
So, how did that happen?
Well, there was a frisbee, and it hit him, and he fell in the grave. I mean... What more do you need to know, David?
Were you in a cemetery?
I was just on the edge of a cemetery. I was on the other side of a wall of a cemetery.
Mm. And so, what were you playing with? A friend? Kids?
Yeah, I find frisbee on my own quite hard. I know what you're thinking of. You're thinking of this is Jake, and I once hit him with a boomerang, and he fell into a grave.
So, who were you playing frisbee with?
With my son.
And how high was the wall of this cemetery?
It was about... it's quite low. It's about 3 foot, 4 foot. Just a very, very low wall.
In French?
No, it was in the countryside in England.
No, because 3 foot, 4 foot is what in French? I don't know.
It is 4 foot. No, sorry, it's 4 foot.
What was he doing in the cemetery?
What was he doing?
Yeah.
He was actually the grave digger. Look at his face. Of course I'm telling the truth. I say grave digger, I mean body snatcher.
Why were you there? Were you on holiday?
I just was having a day out to some church my wife wanted to see. So my wife and my son and me, we went off. We went off to a field, had a look at a church. My wife loves the church. She had a look at the church. Me and my son are not interested in church. Are you all right there? And I said, well, me and you, we always take a frisbee because everywhere she goes and looks at, we're often on Oxford Street when she's shopping.
So how did she find out about that particular church?
She went on Google when she was looking about slugs.
So how did he fall in the grave?
Because he was looking at his hole. The hole he just dug, and he obviously just finished. He was very proud. It's a 6-foot hole. It takes a long time to dig a 6-foot hole. Trust me, I know. I've buried a few. And he's looking down, thinking, I finally finished. And but as luck would have it, my son missed it, went over his head, hit him on the back of the knee, and he's gone straight in.
OK. How did you know he fell into the grave?
How do I know he fell in the grave? Because there was a fella stood there and then he wasn't.
All right, we need an answer. So, David's team. Is Jake Oatie's damaged dancer, James's break-up buddy, or Lee's frisbeed friend?
I don't buy the dancing, but I think James's story is very plausible, and they look alike anyway.
That's not a rule.
They're not claiming to be brothers, they're claiming to be friends.
Well, you have to have a reason. That's my reason. There you go.
What are you thinking, Danny?
James, I really believe this story.
Yeah. David?
Yeah, I think probably James.
Oh, OK. There's no doubt within your team, David.
There's no doubt.
We think we know, and which is absurd, because, of course, we don't. But,
Jake, would you please reveal your true identity?
I'm Jake, and James helped me break up with my girlfriend.
Yes, Jake is James's break-up buddy. Thank you very much, Jake.
I wrote my will on a bit of cardboard when I thought the plane I was in was about to crash.
Oh, there we are.
I know, but certainly, yeah, she was, I'd say, trying to make it look like she was amazed by the ridiculous thing on the card.
Like that.
But maybe she was amazed by the ridiculous thing on the card, because I imagine if a plane crashed, one of the things that would perish along with the humans would be the cardboard. So,
Are you asking me to comment on that?
I think he's just suggesting that you should have written your will on the black box.
Yeah.
I mean, that's logistically impossible. Aren't they locked in their cabins now?
Doing that.
Sorry to argue with you.
No, you see, I don't think that the black box solution was workable either.
OK.
I think when they talk about when they find the black box, what they do is it's a recording they play rather than say read what's written on it.
Don't you mean I could have got in the pilot's cabin and just screamed my will at them?
You could have actually put it on the radio and say, never mind, Mayday, Mayday, take this down.
Was it cardboard and not paper?
It was a packet.
A packet
of what?
Do you always look this cheesed off when you're thinking?
I've got so many cogs whirring in my brain. I'm just trying to control them.
So many what? Sorry?
Cogs.
Oh.
Like you, Rob, my IQ makes double figures.
I think it's triple figures you're aiming at.
It was a film packet.
Why did you think it would work?
I was panicking. The bloody plane was crashing. You're not logical, are you?
What were you writing? I mean, were you writing, like, bits and bobs to each person, or was it, like, everything?
I was leaving everything to the person I was with.
Oh,
he was in the plane with...
Everything has to come through me, right?
So presumably it didn't crash because thankfully you're with us and, you know...
No, we thought it was going to crash.
Yeah.
And the plane had problems with the landing gear.
Well, David, you've heard a fair old testimony
Well,
here.
I don't think... Janet doesn't strike me as a
She will do by the end of the night.
All right. And I think to write a will on something that will burn more quickly than you will is a moronic act.
But the only thing that worries me was the beginning when she looked at it. I
felt double
that
bluff.
she was acting.
Yeah.
When you're thinking all along, she knows exactly what she's reading because it's the truth.
I think it was a bit double bluff at the beginning. I think it's probably true.
Yeah. And you're leaning towards
I think
true.
it could be true.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I just don't think it is true, but I'm happy to be outvoted. We think it's true.
You say it's true. Janet, is it fact or fiction?
True.
Oh.
Yes, I was right. How did you guess that?
Yes, it's all true. Janet wrote her will on a bit of cardboard when she thought the plane she was on was about to crash. Passengers heard a terrifying whining noise, an unearthly screeching. It was Janet asking for an extra blanket.
2 years ago, after losing my keys at a fancy dress party, I had to break into my house while dressed as Darth Vader.
Please, Steve.
Ooh, OK. I want to know about the costume. Was it a good one?
It wasn't bad, actually. It was from a shop. It wasn't homemade.
Right.
There's not many things I can do as fancy dress. I can do Frankenstein, and I can do Darth Vader, or I can do two children standing on each other's shoulders wearing a raincoat.
How did you get in?
Do you know the bathroom window on the ground floor?
No, I don't know the house question.
Well, there, essentially.
What, you squeezed in, you, through a bathroom window?
You know what, Rob? I used the Force.
You used a hell of a force. So what, not the little window, you mean the whole big bathroom window?
It's a sash window, yeah. And I've done it before. I went under it with a little piece of metal that's by the bins. It's an old school ruler, which I've always kept there.
A school ruler of Herculean strength, then, I should say.
No, you know the metal ones, like technical drawing.
OK.
By the way, it's no longer there now if anyone does go round to my house.
And what about the party now? Which other characters? Were there any other Star Wars characters at the party?
Yeah, and this is genuinely true. Someone else at the party was a Darth Vader, but in...
I bet you towered over him. He would have felt like a pathetic Vaderette.
Was he
how enfeebling to be the small Vader at a party.
Was he smaller than you?
Take a wild guess, Lee.
What about the voice? Did you attempt to do it for fun at the party? Could you give us a demonstration?
OK, yeah, of course I could. So I would say, for example, I know what Luke Skywalker got for Christmas. He got a Subbuteo.
Was he doubling as a minicab driver?
He got a jigsaw puzzle. And he got a football. And everyone would say, how do you know that? And I would say, I have felt his presence.
What do you think, Pam?
I have a sneaking feeling that it is true, actually. You know, being shut out of your house isn't that unusual, so I think it's true.
I just don't think you've got a ruler by the bins.
I mean, a man who puts a ruler by a bin puts a key under a brick first, doesn't he? You know what I mean?
Not necessarily, because the key thing about the ruler by the bins is that it's knack needed. A key is no knack needed.
Are you speaking English?
Yes, yeah. People underestimate the protective power of a knack. If you need a knack to get in, then essentially the means of getting in can be available because the burglars won't have the knack.
Yeah. Unless they steal it and then it's a knick-knack.
Right, what's it going to be?
We'll say it's a lie.
You can say it's a lie. OK, Richard, Darth Vader through the bathroom window. Truth or lie?
It was, sorry, Pam, a lie.
It's a lie. Richard didn't break into his house while dressed as Darth Vader.
I once spent 8 hours at Glastonbury searching for my teeth.
Right. Well, you certainly got them back.
Found them, obviously.
So, hang on, you're at Glastonbury. Now, when is this?
Well, I'd say 89 or something like that.
Oh,
99.
so height of the rave culture.
Yeah, yeah.
First of all, how can you lose your teeth? That's the obvious question.
Well, because I have dentures.
What age did you lose your teeth?
A very young age, at 16.
Wow.
1989, you had no teeth apart from dentures. And how old were you in 1989?
I can't remember now.
Well, tell us when you were born and we'll work it out.
1964.
You were born in 64?
I'll take it, 25. When did you realise that you didn't have your teeth in?
Well, I went to take a bite of a donut.
It took you to eat before you realised?
That chance to bite a donut, like, something's gone on here, you know what I mean?
How many of the teeth?
The top set.
The top set?
Yeah,
Could you not feel that you had no teeth in?
Well, no, because I was at Glastonbury, and obviously... At the same time, my friend was searching for his sunglasses. I found his sunglasses, and my friend actually found my teeth, and he had him on a necklace round his neck and was
On a necklace?
Yeah, he found my teeth, and he made a necklace out of them.
Did he know they were your teeth when he found them?
He had absolutely no idea. He just thought it was a great decorative piece.
Did you recognise them straight away? Those are my teeth.
As soon as I seen them, I went, they are mine.
How could you tell they were yours?
Well, I recognised his smile.
Did it definitely happen? I believe that you think it happened. But did it happen, Bez? Because we had Sean Ryder on this show once, and he claimed that he taught his cat to wink.
I was actually there when you did it.
No!
Wow.
Wow, this is an incredible story.
Steve, what do you think about this?
I'm struggling with the timeline because I think if you'd lost your teeth, someone would tell you you'd lost your teeth.
Shazia?
How can you communicate with people when you've got no teeth?
That's when I really realised, you know what I mean, when you're talking, like, it's all spraying out your mouth, you know?
Yeah.
Well, certainly, every time anyone's showered me with spittle, I've immediately started a search for their teeth.
Right, it's time to decide. What's it going to be?
It's a lie.
How do you do that without moving your lips? It's brilliant, that.
It's a lie.
I believe it. I think it's true.
I think it's the kind of story, if anybody else said it, I'd go, you can't lose your teeth for 8 hours and not know.
Yeah.
And you add word bez into it, and you go, maybe. Do you think it's a lie?
It's a lie.
I'll concede. I'll go lie then.
Oh, I'd just like to say true.
Oh, no!
We'll go lie. We'll go lie.
Lie.
You're saying lie?
Go for a lie.
OK, they
Go
say it's
for
a lie. Bez, was it a lie or was it in fact the truth?
It was actually the truth.
It's true. Bez did spend 8 hours at Glastonbury looking for his teeth.
Possession.
Ah, right, there's a box just there. So lift up the box, place the item that's in there on the desk, and then read the card.
This lives in my workshop, and I watered it every day for a month before someone pointed out that it was plastic.
OK, right. Lee's team.
Where did you get it?
It was a gift. Someone gave it to me for a chair.
Yeah, I know what a gift is.
Yeah.
He's sharp, isn't he? He's sharp.
Who gave it to you?
A person whose chair I did up, they gave me the flower.
You're welcome to inspect it yourself.
Can we have a look at it?
Your keen observation.
Should we go and get it?
I don't want to get it, but we should.
I'm happy to wheel you over there, because I've got casters on it.
It looks heavy.
Here we are.
Careful, Rob.
It's very light.
I think you'd know it was not with soil. Yeah.
What is that stuff? Yeah, it's like a... That looks quite real, that stuff at
The
the
mossy
bottom.
stuff, yeah.
I don't feel real to it. It's not going to smell. It's not real. Have you not been listening?
Maybe it is. What would happen if you put water in it, Lee?
It's not real.
No, but what would I wonder if the water would penetrate.
Put it on
this
top of there. Let's find out.
Let's find out.
Right, well, it is
Bit
absorbed.
more,
it does absorb it.
It absorbs. Oh, no, no,
Well, it
no.
didn't there, but it
too
did
much.
absorb. It does absorb quite a lot of water, doesn't it? You did it for a month?
About a month, yeah.
For how often?
Probably about 3 times a week.
3 times a week?
You gave
3
it
times
12
a week.
waterings. How much water did you put in?
Only like an egg cup.
You filled the egg cup with water?
Not filled. I didn't say I filled it.
Do you know, Rob, it's only the last 30 seconds I've realised we've still been stood there.
Just wait for...
Why are you still there? Because I find this a bit... You know about the restraining order we came out. Always 5 metres away. 5 metres away.
Do you want it back, Rob?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
Right.
Thank you very
Sorry,
much.
pardon me.
How long's he been hovering?
So you're saying 12 times you topped it up with half an egg cup?
Almost half an egg cup.
Almost half an egg cup?
I've got a lot of antiques in my workshop.
It's an antique
It's an
egg cup.
antique egg cup, yeah.
And what does it look like?
It's a little ceramic...
Well, they were very different back then. Before the war, eggs were rectangular.
Could have been a dojo egg.
So after the 12 waterings, or the month, had elapsed,
Yeah.
what made you realise that it was fake?
The customer called me back just to say she enjoys the chair and stuff like that, and how am I getting on with the plant? And I said, I've been watering it, but it hasn't grown.
Did you expect
See?
it to be a tree after the month?
Well, she said it will blossom a bit more, is what she said.
Whoa.
She said that.
She what? What, on the phone she said that?
No, she said that while she was there picking up the chair. She
So
said it
when
would-
she gave it to you,
Yeah.
she said it would blossom a bit more.
Yes, if I water it.
But it's not real. So are you telling us that she also didn't know?
No, basically, she did tell me that it would blossom if I watered it when she picked up the chair. And then when she called me up and she said she was enjoying the chair, I said, I've been watering the plant, but it hasn't blossomed. She started laughing. It was a practical joke. She was playing on me.
Bingo!
Thank you.
So she said to you, ha 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 ha, and you said, why are you laughing? And she said...
It's plastic. She just started laughing. And her dentures fell out as well at the same time. So she had to pick those up and put them back in.
Were you on FaceTime?
No, she
Well,
doesn't
how do you
do
know?
fa-
Yeah. Did you hear a gentle thud? Was it...
And then...
It was more like a wind action. It was more like wind coming through the phone. That's what it was. So it was a laugh, like, wind, like she was blowing. She was laughing, but it was like... She was just going...
Bob, what do you think?
Well, my instinct, as soon as I held it, it's so light that I wouldn't believe that it had soil in it and was a living thing.
I did think it was a little bit more real than I was expecting it to be. It had a leafy texture.
It did, yeah.
You didn't think it felt real at all, did you?
No, I feel like I could see it, the seams. Yeah, it's not real.
David, do you think it looks real?
Yeah, I do think it looks real.
Orchids look like that. Orchids are very delicate.
I would say, to be fair on it, it looks exactly like a real flower. And to the extent that I think that's what it might have been designed to look like.
OK, it's time. What are you going to say?
I think it's tosh. She laughed for an extended period. You're not laughing for an extended period about that, are you?
She might have a dull sense of humour.
95% of what Jay has said is a lie, but I think it's true.
It can't be true. It's got to be a lie.
OK?
It's got to be a lie.
It's up to you, Alice. It's for you.
No, it's for you.
No, I've said true.
No, I'm not getting involved.
You said lie.
I'm not saying anything.
Don't put it on
What
me.
do you think? I feel
You get invited back. This is my only chance.
It is a lie.
You're saying it's a lie?
It's a lie.
OK. So, Jay, were you telling the truth or were you telling a lie?
I was telling a lie.
Oh!
When I was 8, for about a year, I insisted my parents set an extra place at the dinner table for Steve Davis.
Wow. Please, Steve. How old are you?
How old do you think I am?
It's not about that.
It is to me.
I reckon you are, to put it in Steve's language,
Casting age.
3 reds and 4 black. That's a good point Steve makes. I can't do 3 reds and 4 blacks.
It's impossible.
But it took a me, didn't it?
I know, I've forgotten, and I'm a commentator.
Can I just say, you can, because you could use the black ball as a free ball, as a red, and you could get 3 reds and 4 blacks. So you're wrong there, Steve, but never mind, you're new to it. What era was this?
It was in the 80s.
So when Steve was like the world champion...
Steve Davis at that time, for me, was my hero.
But still is, surely. So, you'd never met him?
Ah.
You
well,
hadn't?
I had met him.
Oh,
yeah.
you had met him?
Yeah.
Where did you meet him?
I met him in a shopping arcade in Warrington.
This story's pretty rock and roll.
Have you ever been in a shopping arcade in Warrington, Steve?
I don't know, because the 80s were a long time ago. How old are you?
What was Steve doing in the shopping arcade?
Signing things for
Yeah,
people.
I did sign.
And did you take something to sign?
No, because it was a spur-of-the-moment thing. I didn't even know he was going to be there.
Oh, it's
And so, but you met him?
Yeah.
How did that conversation go?
I can't remember. He shook my hand and he signed a little piece of paper for me. He said, keep up, because I said I really wanted to try and play snooker.
Oh.
He said, you've got to keep practising and practising.
To say that. I used to say that.
Did you used to say
yeah,
that?
a lot of times, yeah. No,
I think because he was so encouraging then, it really spurred me on, even though I wasn't even tall enough to start playing snooker, because it was really hypnotising when me and my dad used to watch it on the telly.
Mm-hmm.
I used to just want him to be there all the time at meal times. It made me feel very safe.
And
Oh, it made you feel safe.
What? Don't be like that. That's a nice thing.
We haven't found out how old he is. He was probably born in about
You've got
78.
Wikipedia.
Born in 78. I'm going to have him down as a 39-year-old man.
Yeah, we'll take that. That's fine.
The fact is that, as Sarah
Let's just
pointed
leave
out,
it there, 39. That's
actors
nice.
often
I just
don't like
No,
to
they don't.
disclose their age because they
Yes.
feel it might prejudice people
Yeah.
against casting them, and I wouldn't want to do that with Craig.
It's true.
Do we need to ask more questions? I'm just worried about the fact it might be true.
You're worried that it is true?
I'm worried it's true.
Because he
Why is
will
that
freak you
worrying?
out a bit.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Will
Because
it?
he's a bit weird.
Well, I mean, nobody likes stalkers, do they? I mean, like...
They can't stalk someone by staying in your own house.
Yeah. You
Like,
actually, if you think about it, you were in his house and you were
Yeah, it's
stalking
you.
him.
You were going...
So look, you're obviously a big Steve Davis fan. How many times had Steve won the World Snooker Championship at the age of sort of mid-80s?
3.
3. Does that add up?
Yeah.
What did you like about Steve Davis? Why was it... Why didn't you have an imaginary Bill Werbenick?
Because I've never seen anybody quite like Steve Davis.
Now you believe it, don't you?
So what's it going to be then, Lee? Do you think it's the truth?
Sarah?
I think it's true.
Are you into snooker?
Nope. But I've had a lot of fun listening to all the colours and all the numbers. I'm really missing out.
Steve, what are you thinking?
Oh, I don't want to know about this now. The thing is, if I say it's true because I've been sucked in, how stupid am I? I'll be the third stupid person on this team.
You think it's true, Steve? You think it's...
I think it's true. I don't want it to be true.
I think we're going to have to say true, then.
OK, you're saying it's true. Let's find out. Craig,
Steve.
was it true or was it a lie?
It was a lie.
Are you not interested in Steve Davis at all?
No.
I did like his character when he was spitting image. I like that.
Stop digging! Stop digging!
Thank you very much.
I once stole the shirt off a scarecrow in order to get into a nightclub.
Leasty.
Wow. OK. Was you not wearing anything before you went to the nightclub?
Me?
Yeah.
T-shirt, you see.
OK.
Oh, well, they wouldn't let you in?
Yeah, but they... Well, it is, you know, it's all a bit more relaxed these days because the dress code isn't what it was back in the day.
What was the day? What year?
Back in the day, or when this happened?
Well...
It was early 2000s.
Right, so early 2000s, you've gone to a nightclub. Where was this nightclub?
In Rochester.
Rochester is a town, right? And that's why it's got a nightclub in it. And scarecrows don't really tend to be used in towns
What
because
a
they're
very
out
good
in massive fields.
Thank you, Miss Martin.
So when did you find out you needed a shirt to get in the club? Did you go to the club
When
and
the
then
bouncer
walk...
said, you ain't coming in.
Right, and then you walked back to the scarecrow to get the shirt?
I walked back to the allotment.
This is very high-level play.
This is like chess, isn't it, between Sean and Joe?
Take that, Moriarty.
Do you live in Rochester?
No.
So how did you know there was an allotment in Rochester near the nightclub?
I lived near it then.
Oh, I see.
It's like fencing, isn't it?
But then again, if you lived in Rochester, why didn't you just go home and get a shirt?
Oh, this gets better and better. Oh. Checkmate.
No. I was born in Chatham, but brought up in Maidstone. But my uncle lived in Rochester, and it was one of the allotments on his patch, so I knew where the allotments were. Apropos to the nightclub.
Miss Brown, back to you.
Can I ask, earlier
Yes,
you
sir.
said you had a T-shirt and trainers and jeans on.
Yes.
And you thought it was a relaxed club, but then you went to the club and they said you need a shirt, but you're not allowed in a club with trainers on.
OK. The bouncer was a
Can
big...
I just say, Sean, you're the kind of person that every time you speak, you always sound like you're going to start it with, I'd like to change my story.
But is that the impression I'm just giving you?
For the sake of the tape, the accused has walked into the room.
The bouncer was a massive fan of EastEnders and was quite embarrassed at turning me away. So I think when he saw the effort I'd made... Because I was already 8 pints to the wind, so when he saw the effort I'd made, I think he just couldn't bear turning me away again.
OK.
What do you think, Joe? Could this be true?
I think he'd have had a better time if he'd popped down the graveyard. I think there's a lot of anomalies in it.
This is what I think. A man who knows exactly where an allotment is because he knows the town so well knows you can't get into the nightclub without collars. And for that reason, Sean, we find you guilty.
So what's he saying, Lee? You think it's a lie,
Lie.
You think it's a lie?
You think it's a lie? You all
Yeah.
think it's a lie?
We all think it's a lie.
Sean, truth or lie?
It is a lie.
It's a lie. Sean didn't steal a shirt from a scarecrow.
I once had to explain to the police why I had 2 coffins in the back of my van.
David's team.
Imagine I'm the police. Why have you got 2 coffins in the back of your van, sir?
Well, I was doing a touring play at the time, and there was vampires in it.
Yeah.
So we had 2 coffins in the back of the van as props. And we were actually in Germany doing this play called Neighbours with Long Teeth. And
Things never translate from English to German.
Why did the police stop you?
Well, unbeknownst to us, the head of the Deutsche Bank had just been assassinated in Frankfurt.
Right.
And they were stopping everyone.
And so they were pulling over basically all vans?
They were looking for anything dodgy, basically, I guess.
Right.
Where were you? Which city?
It was just outside Frankfurt.
I live there.
Do you?
Yeah.
So they pulled you over.
Machine guns, everything. Very, very serious situation.
Yeah.
And we had to explain the plot of our play, Neighbours with Long Teeth.
Because you speak a bit of German. So
Yeah.
you were the... How many of you were there?
3 of us.
Oh, you should have said 9.
What sort of venues are you touring around?
Schools.
Schools. So...
The plot went that I was a sort of young 17-year-old schoolboy who'd fallen in love with my neighbour who was a vampire. And she came up out of the coffin, and that's where we first met.
And what was the other coffin for?
The other coffin was for her parents, her mum or her dad. I think they shared, because they're a married couple, they're allowed to...
I mean, to be fair, Moxie is loving this show.
And how did you explain all this to the police?
It was a lot of mime.
But it's quite a complex plot, so how would you convey it to them?
I think they had more things on their mind than the foot. They didn't get to Act 3.
So, yes, at what point in your description of the story did they glaze over?
Right, Bez, what do you think?
Well, I love the plot of Neighbours with Long Teeth, and it's got to be true with Stephen, I reckon.
You think true, Motzi?
You don't think any of this is true, do you? You don't think this is really happening?
But don't you remember when the president of the Deutsche Bank was assassinated in Frankfurt?
When did this happen?
It would have been late 80s.
I just born. Like.
So you're not a suspect?
That wasn't a big part of your childhood. Let us tell you the story of the president of the Deutsche Bank.
Right, what's it going to be?
Well, I live around Frankfurt area. I mean, even if I wasn't there in the 80s, I think I would have heard the story.
How old were you when you went to Germany?
18.
You arrived in Frankfurt
Yes.
over 20 years after Steve's van was pulled over. I am not surprised they didn't mention it.
But this is a story. This is culture. You carry that on.
A school's tour of a play about vampires, and the police pull over their van once on what was quite a busy day for the police. I cannot share your confidence that they would have mentioned it to you, an 18-year-old dancer coming from South Africa. I don't think that will be on the things you need to know. Local restaurants, you know, this is how you pay the tax. The bins come on Tuesdays. Oh, and I must tell you, back in the late 80s, there was a guy here and he had a couple of coffins in his van. Turned out it was just a school's tour. If that's what you're basing it on, I'm going with Bez.
OK. So you're saying it's true?
Yes.
So, Steve, was it true or was it a lie?
True.
And they never mentioned it.
So please welcome this week's special guest, Eamon. So, Tom, what is Eamon to you?
This is Eamon, and after a night out on the tiles with me, he was unable to walk for 2 days.
Right, So, Tom's partying pal. Vicky, how do you know Eamon?
This is my neighbour, Eamon, and for about a month, we each thought we were conversing with an owl, when in reality, we were each hooting at the other.
Vicky's featherless friend. And finally, Lee, what's your relationship with Eamon?
This is Eamon. He caught me climbing out of the boot of my car after I'd smuggled myself into his safari park.
David, where do you want to begin?
Well, Tom.
Yes?
So what was it that happened to Eamon that stopped him walking for 2 days?
None of your goddamn business. I was doing a gig.
Mm-hmm.
We went out.
Describe the evening.
We went to a nightclub and we got drunk and... Sorry, everybody. And I was actually thrown out of the nightclub when I tried to prop myself up on a rope barrier and fell on the floor.
Hang on a minute, Tom.
Yes.
You've done a gig
Yes.
where you're compos mentis, you're sober,
Completely.
you're being your wonderful, glittering self, you're
Yes.
entertaining literally dozens of people. And then you go out with your friend Eamon,
Yes.
laughing Eamon there. What does he do?
He's a photographer.
A photographer.
Does he take photos of you for your desktop file? Pictures,
So you fell over.
Yes.
The bouncers go, hang on, someone in here's been drinking.
Yes.
And throw you out.
Yes.
I hope they said it in exactly that voice, Derek.
So then, Eamon, being my friend, took me back to my hotel, but I could not remember what room I was in, and so he had to put me in the lift. He went up to each floor to see if the key would work on any of the doors on that floor. So Eamon went off to try the doors. But he didn't want to leave me in the lift in case the lift door closed and I went to another floor and he never saw me again. So he draped me across the threshold of the lift.
Yes. Yeah.
So the doors were constantly opening and closing across my head.
How many floors did he check?
I think it wasn't a huge one, but it was probably about 6 floors high.
6 floors.
And on 6 separate occasions, the lift doors are banging on your head.
Several times on each floor. And at that point, he realised I was actually staying not in the main part of the hotel, but in an annex next to it, which had no lift, and so he had no choice but to drag me to my room.
And all this lugging and dragging and left him unable to walk.
Did his back in and left him unable
I'm
to walk for 2
surprised
days.
you could walk after all that.
Well, I'm a very resilient person, Esme.
Who would you like to question next?
OK, so, Vicky.
Just remind us what it was that you said, Vicky.
This is my neighbour, Eamon, and for a month we both thought we were conversing with an owl when, in fact, we were just hooting at each other.
Could you show us a hoot?
That's rich coming from you.
OK, so what I heard was...
That's a ghost.
And I went, because I'm quite keen on owls, and I went...
What's that?
That's a mouse.
No, it's the call and response of the tawny owl.
Is it? And you thought, we must welcome the tawny owl.
Yeah. This owl's gonna be lonely.
Yeah.
Unless I let it know that it has a friend.
Do you realise that what you're doing, strictly speaking, is grooming? Because you're not an owl. You're pretending to be an owl under false pretences to...
Catfishing.
I hadn't really thought that it was owl fishing.
Yeah. OK.
Yes.
What happened next?
Cut to, a few nights later, I am going to the back door, and I go and I think, well, I wonder if that owl is out there. So I go...
Oh, hang on, that's the reply.
Why didn't you do the oo?
Well, because actually the wit is the call, and the woo is the reply.
Well, hang on then. Why did you wit when you heard a woo? 'Cause that owl was clearly already talking to someone else. Finally, there's an owl in the area and you just interrupt.
And then how did you find out he wasn't the owl?
Look at him. Wouldn't it be great now if his head just span round?
At the end of our road is a off-licence shoppy type thing, and I was in there, and Eamon was buying a Sunday paper. One of the things that was in there was a supplement which was about nature, and one of the things that they'd done a survey on was something called Owl Prowl. And it was lists of sightings of owls.
Can I just say, I've had years of experience in this. You are digging a massive hole. You didn't need to mention the supplements.
Anyway, Owl Prowl.
Sorry, so Owl Prowl, yes. And I said, I think there's an owl in this neighbourhood, and he said, there is, I've heard it. And I said, I think it's a tawny owl. And I said, in fact, I heard it last night, and he said, so did I. And then it gradually dawned on us both that what we'd been doing was...
I see.
Hooting.
Yeah.
Is this the plot of like a rom-com with Meg Ryan?
Yeah. What about Lee? Would you remind us of your claim?
This is Eamon. He caught me climbing out of the boot of my car after I tried to smuggle myself into his safari park.
How long ago?
This was 13 years ago.
So what was the saving?
The saving was, I think it was £35 for an adult.
Right.
But the reason why I didn't want to pay is because I had been before to the safari park, and I'd come out without the annual pass, and I was annoyed. So I got so irritated, and we had a bit of a row, me and my wife, because I said, go back and get the annual pass, and she said, no. And in the end, I said, well, look, I'm just going to sneak in the boot. We had our baby on the back seat. He wouldn't get in the boot with me, so...
So when you were in the boot, how were you lying in the boot? How big a
bit
boot
like
was
now.
it?
How were you found, Lee? The plan was that
The plan was
you'd
to just get
driven in.
Yes. So what happened, I said to my wife, is once we're in, pull over when it's safe, and she stopped. But the reason she stopped, I thought because we were safe, but no, it wasn't because she was safe. It's because a load of monkeys were crossing the road. So she stopped to let these monks cross. I think it's now safe to get out. We've got a safety latch in the boot. I think the thing, I got out...
You let yourself out of a boot?
Well, there's a little latch on...
No,
on
there's
these...
not.
There is.
Is
Safety
there?
latch. There has been since 2013.
Can I ask you
All
something?
boots have to be fitted with an inner safety latch.
But this was 13 years ago, not 2013.
Exactly. So luckily, I had an advanced model. I had the prototype. The first car on the market to have a boot latch inside it.
You get out...
Do you not remember the advert? Sick of your boot only opening from the outside? No longer. With the new Skoda internal boot latch. 6.4. No, so Eamon, who is working at the safari park...
As what?
He was the ranger, and his job was to make sure people...
What sort of equipment did he have?
Oh, we had it all. He had a big net.
Pith helmet?
No, he had a big net, he had a gun, he had a thing over his thing with lots of little darts in.
Yeah.
He had a safari jacket on.
He had a snooker cue, a tennis racket, a banjo. And he spotted you climbing out of the boot.
Correct.
What were the monkeys doing as you got out of the boot? Did they just go on with their business,
luckily,
or did
the
they
first thing they did was they removed the dead zebra that was lying on the floor, and that's what they were using to cross. But then they... It's confusing when a zebra just dies. Everyone just walks across them.
And your wife must have been alarmed.
No, that's just the car. And so I get out the boot, there's mayhem, he comes over, what are you doing? Get in the car! And then he does something to the monkeys, which is like he waves something and they run. He just goes, and they go, and they run.
Are you just retelling the plot of Jumanji?
The monkeys have gone.
The monkeys are gone because he waved the anti-monkey stick.
Can you remember what it looked like, this anti-monkey stick?
Yeah, I remember it being very bright. I remember it being like a light, a very long light, like
lightsaber,
like Star Wars.
Like a lightsaber.
He had a lightsaber.
This is a job not for the net or the dart gun, but the lightsaber.
Right, he started doing that.
So
I think this was a lie, but I think Lee is starting to believe it on some level.
Yeah.
He's so far into it.
What happens then?
So then he's telling me off. First of all, get in the car. Safety first.
Yeah.
So
Does he get in the car with you?
He gets in the car.
to
Now
tell
he
you
starts
off?
telling me off through the window. Now, I can't open the window, which I tried to do politely. He went, close your window. So he went, what the hell are you doing out? Can't hear you. He said, leave the window on. You've not opened the window. I said, I can't hear you. Don't open the window. I said, I can't hear you. Don't open the window. And then eventually thought it'd be easier to just get in.
Difficult for him to get in with all his equipment.
And the baby in the baby seat in the back seat.
He gets just past the baby. He sits in between the baby. There's the baby. There's me. And there's baby.
So you're in the back as well. You didn't get in the front.
I didn't get in the front because I just panicked. He said, get in the car now. I just got in the first door I saw.
OK.
And I had to climb over the baby. Then he had to climb over the baby. Shut both the doors.
Your wife's in the front, and in the back are you, Eamon, the baby, the net, the lightsaber, and the dart gun.
Correct. You all right?
Oh, look, he's crying at the memory of it.
It's bringing back tears, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
How does this come to a conclusion, Lee?
Well, so he looked at me and he said, is there any reason you've made me come in here with all this paraphernalia? What kind of idiot would get out the back of it? Are you trying to sneak in and not pay? I said, well, the thing is, stop laughing. I said, the thing, at least comb your beard up so it covers your mouth. And my wife said, don't talk to me like that. And he says, why are you sneaking in? And I told him the story I told you. And he didn't believe it either. Yeah. And he chastised me. He gave me a good telling off. He said, you're risking your life here. He says, you're not going to believe this. He says, but exactly a week ago, a fella got out the boot of his car. And unfortunately, he'd used a new banana shampoo, and they literally dragged him off into the forest, and he was never seen again.
I remember. I think I read about that.
Do you remember?
It's OK. You can relax now. We need an answer. So, David's team is Eamon Tom's partying pal, Vicky's featherless friend, or maybe Lee's wildlife warden.
What I don't get with Lee's story is why, in the beginning, was he going to lengths of sneaking himself in like a journalist entering a war zone when it was just a safari park?
Because, I mean, listen, we just had a baby and things were tight. I mean, I'd spent most of my money on a new car that had a new facility to get ourselves out of the boot.
Basically, we have 3 stories. One of them isn't possible. Yes. 2 of them are unlikely but possible. And I think I'll leave it there.
So who's it going to be then? Time to decide.
I don't know. So you think you think Tom?
No, I think Vicky.
You think Vicky? If you're divided,
yes,
I will cast my casting vote for Tom.
Saying it's Tom. OK, Eamon, would you please reveal your true identity?
I'm Eamon, and I had to get Tom back to his hotel room.
Yes, Eamon is Tom's partying pal. Thank you very much, Eamon.
I once watched a sad film immediately before breaking up with a boyfriend so I could generate enough tears to mask my indifference.
Right. Wow. Lee's team.
When was this?
This was about 12 years ago.
Right, so the obvious question to ask is, what was the name of the boyfriend?
Jan.
Jan?
Jan.
J-A-N?
J-A-N.
Do you mean Jan as in Jan because he was Scandinavian?
No.
Do you mean no as in N-O?
It was a nickname.
Yeah?
For January.
Oh, his name was January, now it makes sense. What was his surname?
Warren.
January Warren?
How did you meet January Warren? At a calendar fair or something?
Yes,
How long have you been seeing each other?
4 months.
And what was the film you chose to watch?
Beaches. So sad at the end.
I don't think I've ever seen Beaches.
Bette Midler. Bette Midler.
Yeah, yeah.
Bette Midler.
Say Bette Midler one more time.
Bette Midler.
I remember it now.
The wind beneath my wings. That's where that song is from. Did you ever know that you're my hero? You're everything I would like to be.
I feel like I should press a button to close the curtains at the creme at this moment.
Sarah, I'm going to be January Warren. And we're going to recreate it, OK?
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Hey, Sarah, how you doing, honey? I just gotta tell you, I've never been as happy in a relationship as I am with you. Honey, you look a little upset. What's the matter, sweetie? Honey, is something wrong? You want some fun time? Make it right?
I'm not happy.
You've been watching Beaches again, right?
It sounds like I've been watching the Muppets.
I don't know if I'm upset about the film or your American accent, but I can't spend any more time with you, Jan.
You know what? I'm turning into Fozzie Bear.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Did you watch Beaches with him?
Yeah.
You sat with him to watch it,
Oh.
and the plan was
that's
always to
devious.
finish by the end of the film.
I thought, I know I'll cry if I watch Beaches, and that he would be, like, less angry because I was already crying.
So how did January react?
He was sad.
Well, he'd been watching Beaches as well. So he's in a terrible mood.
He was sad, but he told me that he understood.
What do you think, Kate?
I think that I would choose Beaches to make me cry. I think that's plausible. I think because it's a really sad film.
Ed, what are you thinking?
I think it's true. They're 100% true.
I'm going to go 70% lie.
Right, well, I'm going to commit even further. I'm going to say 50% true. It's a lie.
You're saying it's a lie?
Of course it's a lie.
OK, Sarah, truth or lie?
A lie!
It's a lie. Sarah didn't watch a sad film just before a breakup.
Right. I went into labour after trying out an over-ambitious dance move at my baby shower.
Gosh, David's team.
Right, so what was the dance move?
Well, it is a bit naughty to say, but it's something drop.
Right.
I did that drop, and the baby did drop.
Why don't we call it a smut drop?
A
People at
smut
home will
drop.
know what we're talking about, but we won't get any letters. Well, you don't get letters now, do you?
So what is this move?
Well, you just basically fall to the floor.
So talk us through what happened. You're out there, you're doing that. What happens?
Well, I had a baby shower and I had a DJ. He just got the crowd going. And then I went to the toilet after I'd been dancing like that. And so it wasn't quite right. And so I told everybody when I come back, I think my waters have just broke.
Oh, dear.
And they said, no, it'll be something else. But I said, well, it is a bit silky.
They think you're spinning a web.
I'll tell you what, that's a weird episode of Spider-Man. That's shooting that out across and then swinging along on that. Blimey.
So when did the baby come, then?
So it's really uncomfortable. But the next day, I had my midwife appointment, and they said, any leakage? And I said, yeah, at my baby shower. And then they gave me a checkup, and they went, he's got to come out. You've split the bag.
And you'd split. And it was your dancing that caused... If you hadn't done that dancing, he would have stayed where he was.
Well, he was fine before. So I said, oh, he can't come out now because that'll make him a Virgo and he's meant to be a Libra, but they just did not care.
They're unfeeling, aren't they, in the National Health Service?
Yeah.
With all this water, he sounds more like a Pisces. Could have gone with Aquarius. No.
What was it? Should have been a Leo. What was it?
No, he's a Virgo. Amy should have been a Libra.
Yeah, and is he not the child you hoped he would be?
So what do you think? Now, Shirley, are you a mother? Do you have children?
I have children.
Right.
Want some.
So of all of us here, you're the most qualified to say whether this rings true.
It just seems a little bit far-fetched. I don't think you'd want to go all overnight and go to sleep if you were in that kind of pain.
Yeah.
Well, I was in London, so I had to get back to Bristol.
Why did you have your baby shower in a city that you don't live in?
Because my My friend organised it for me.
And they just wanted it more convenient for them.
How long was it then until the baby came?
Well, they tried to induce me.
With what, sweets?
That's entice, Rob. That's entice.
Oh, I'm sorry. So what are we thinking?
Do you know what? I think she said split the bag with such casualness that I think that did happen.
I think it's a lie.
Shirley's...
I can't imagine it.
Shirley has given birth, so she's the expert. Chris isn't. I think we'll go true. Lie.
OK. Josie, was it true or was it a lie?
I can confirm.
So please welcome this week's special guest, Christina. So, Jo, what is Christina to you?
Well, this is Christina. I once borrowed her car, then later watched in horror as a Frenchman crushed it with his lorry.
Right, Jo's carless companion. Kiri, how do you know Christina?
This is Christina, and my dog ate the tip of her finger.
Kiri's dog's dinner, and finally, David, what is your relationship with Christina?
This is Christina. When my list of implausible things that have happened to me that I could talk about on Would I Lie to You blew away, she returned it to me.
And so there we have it. Lee's team, where will you begin?
Jo, could you just remind me again what you said? Sorry.
I borrowed Christina's car, then later on a Frenchman crushed the car with his lorry.
So you borrowed her car?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I had to go to a gig in Nottingham.
And you've borrowed the car, you've gone to the gig, and then you've...
What happened was we got down the M1 and everyone said, let's stop and have breakfast like you do. 3 o'clock in 3 o'clock in the morning, you know.
Have you got other comedians in the car with you?
Yeah. And then I didn't realise, but we were actually in the lorry park and not the car park.
Did the truck reverse into your car?
It did.
All right, now. And you're in the car?
And we're in it,
So why
yeah.
didn't you blow the horn or get attention?
Because it wasn't my car.
But a horn is a horn.
You're still allowed to use the horn. Still not touch that, it's not mine. I've got very dirty fingers.
Excuse me. It didn't have the horn in the middle of the steering wheel. Of course, that's the first thing I tried. I went, like that.
Sorry, where was the horn?
It was on the end of a stalk, you know.
How did you fit the stalk in there if you had all this...
You said it was a Frenchman driving this. How would you know? Did he go, ooh,
Well,
le crush?
no, what happened was I was trying to find the horn, windscreen wipers.
As ever.
And eventually I did find it, but his lorry had already hit the car and started to make a crunching noise because we were against the wall.
But it properly crushed?
No, not concertinaed it in, but it's...
Well, were you hit or were you crushed? You're the one that said crushed.
You know, crushed the front
The
of it.
crumple zone, I imagine.
He stopped. I got out the car, went round to him, and he opened his cab and went...
C'est la vie!
I don't think he said
that's
"C'est la
life.
vie."
That's life!
So go on, talk us through the conversation when you saw Christina.
Well, I phoned her. I said, look, I'm really sorry, I've had an accident with your car.
And she said, not again. Have you not thought about putting plastic sheets down?
So the upshot of it was that I actually did manage to drive it home. It had the grill had sort of half fallen off.
And you drove home like that? Sorry, were you comedians or clowns? Oh, no!
Right, what about Kiri?
OK, so, Kiri, you're claiming that this lady's fingertip is missing.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one, this, because she is covering her hand, but she would have been told to do that to give her lie a chance if she's lying.
Cunning.
Yeah.
Is she a friend of yours?
She's my auntie.
Were you there when it happened?
Yeah.
Where was it?
It was in her kitchen.
In her kitchen. Your dog?
Yeah.
What sort of dog have you got?
I've got Jack Russell.
Little Jack Russell?
Why are you sitting like he's a little cute? He's taken someone's finger off.
It wasn't his fault. He didn't think it was a finger when he ate it.
What did he think it was? Ate it? Did he gulp it down?
Yeah.
So how much of the finger are we talking here?
So she was peeling potatoes.
Right.
But she was doing it too fast and she had her finger out like that. And then she was doing it really quickly, and I was talking to her, so she was distracted. And she just went like that, and then a big curl of her finger.
That can happen, though.
Well, hang on. So now you're saying she didn't... So it wasn't the end of the finger, it was the sort of fleshy bit.
Yeah, so like the tip came off.
Ooh. And you're
then it
Jack
just...
Russell, like a shark. Smelt the blood in the air, leapt up.
And I'm presuming there was blood splurting everywhere.
Yeah, there was a lot of blood.
And what happens next? What did you do?
I didn't do anything. I was just panicking.
Because you thought, there's not going to be no chips now?
So my dad got like loads and loads of kitchen roll and just like held it down and then took her to A&E and she got some stitches.
And the dog's still doing all right? The dog's
dead.
It's not... Is it? Really? That's a hell of a punishment. I'm not happy about the peeling technique. This away from you. Surely people peel towards them like that, don't they?
What?
Yeah.
No.
I peel towards.
You pull towards.
I do my carrots the other way.
Enough of the filth.
Right, now then, what about David's?
Remind us again, David.
Well, this is Christina.
Hi, Christina. Give us a wave.
And when my list of implausible things I could talk about on this show blew away, she returned it to me.
So hang on, where were you at the time?
I was in the garden.
How many things were on the list?
Oh, I mean, hundreds of things were on the list.
Well,
Hundreds of amazing things that, unfortunately, I can't tell you about for obvious reasons.
So I just clarify, you've got hundreds of things on the list.
Hundreds of things on this list.
And the last few series have been the best of those things that have happened in your life?
No, because I asked them to save the best stuff for after Series 30.
Okay.
In the hope that one of the pair of you will be dead.
You're in the garden to that
moment.
moment.
I've been copying the list out onto a fresh piece of paper.
From what?
From an older piece of paper that had become...
You're far more meticulous about this show than I am.
Yes. I keep a piece of paper with me at all times.
Yes, I know.
In my
you
diary.
need to in your condition.
Yeah. Anyway, it'd been folded up in my diary, and I've been adding these amazing, brilliant anecdotes which fans of the show will be familiar with.
Where does it blow to?
Over the wall.
Your heart must have gone into your mouth when you saw all that magic disappear.
Yeah, well, I thought this is a security issue.
Of course.
Otherwise, blowing away in the world, someone could photograph it, put it on social media, and there goes Series 31 to 36 of this show. Down the toilet, like the paper from the other pocket.
And so it blows over the wall. So is this lady your neighbour?
No. Beyond the wall at the bottom of the house is some allotments.
Oh. And was she allotting at that time?
She was allotting.
Do you run down, scamper down?
Well, it blew initially. It rested briefly on
a marrow.
On a, as you rightly say, on a quivering marrow. Rested on the lawn, and another, so I ambled towards it in quite a relaxed manner, which I later came to regret, because a second gust of wind took it right over the wall into the allotment.
How high is the wall?
100 feet.
Wow. Let's have another guess.
Sure.
Thank God for that trampoline.
It's quite a tall wall.
Right. Is it taller than you?
Not 100 feet. That's an exaggeration.
OK.
So suddenly Christina is just happily in her allotment, and she sees your ghostly head rising above a high wall. What a horrible experience.
Well, I certainly do look disgusting. But the upshot was...
She passed you the piece of paper.
She consented to go and pick up the piece of paper.
Were you not tempted at that point,
pass it to
given
me.
you're so high up on the fence, to just jump the wall and go and get it?
No.
So what was the chain of events that ended up with Christina and you becoming friends? Did you say, oh, you handed that sheet of paper over ever so lovely, do you fancy ever meeting up for a cup of tea?
No, we've never met up for a cup of tea.
So why is Christina here?
Have you never seen this show before?
All right. We need an answer. So, Lee's team, is Christina Joe's carless companion, Kiri's dog's dinner, or David's helpful hero?
I think it's Kiri's dog's dinner.
Why?
I can see it happening. Seems plausible.
Joe's is plausible up until the driving home bit. You can't be crushed and drive home.
Which way are you leaning, Henning?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with Simon.
I can see Kiri and him. I can see him having a drink together
as well.
They look very similar.
Yeah.
So we think it's Kiri, do we?
Yeah.
OK.
You're going to say that it's Kiri and the finger and the dog? OK. Christina, would you please reveal your true identity?
I'm Christina, and Joe wrecked my car.
Yes, Christina is Joe's carless companion. Thank you very much, Christina.